From the Middle is a founding member of Odd Pods Media. Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning into episode 188. They're still letting us do these? 188?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Episode 188 of From the Middle. We are three middle-class guys living in the middle of America and the middle chapters of our lives with a point of view that's somewhere in the middle. And if that makes no sense to you, we're a comedy, culture, entertainment, and interview-style podcast where we're just having fun, laughing, and relaxing, talking about all our favorite things. In this episode, we discuss the etiquette of FaceTiming in public, having a nice long holiday weekend with Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and a crap ton of things we've been streaming. We hope you'll enjoy the episode. Check it out.
Oh, for the love.
Sorry, just clearing my Mountain Dew hole.
I got my phone hole cleaned today.
That's where you keep it? You're so cerebral and you're so developed and evolved. From the Middle after dark over here.
Can we please talk about people FaceTiming in public? I need you guys' thoughts on why is it happening to begin with? But then, especially the people who hold their phone flat like this and talk directly into the speaker, but you're on FaceTime. This happens so much when Sherry and I were in New York, and I've seen it a lot lately in the grocery store and other places. Why? So many questions. Why? Why are
they're on FaceTime? Like it's not just a phone call?
Yeah, they're on FaceTime, holding their phone flat to the sky. So the person's looking at the ceiling. Just call them. And we don't need to hear your friend.
Yeah. You know what? That has been like a popular thing, just like even calling on speakerphone, I assumed, but maybe it's FaceTime all this time. Like people on speakerphone in public holding their phone in front of their mouth is something that has always bothered me as well. I don't understand why people are doing it. And yeah.
I need it to stop. Dillon, weigh in. What are your thoughts here? Why is this happening in a world?
People can't be trusted with unlimited data, is what I'm saying. You give them unlimited data and they're just FaceTiming in the middle of nowhere while they're pooping and buying toilet paper and other bathroom related things. And I don't understand. They're streaming their favorite shows in bathrooms, all kinds of nonsense. I don't know. There should be, much like people say, there should be several layers of like verification to become a parent or courses or something. Maybe people need some kind of getting your gun license, but getting your unlimited data license. And people need to learn etiquette and need to learn where to use it and how to use it and not to throttle up all the data coming out of the nearest cell tower for everybody else.
It's killing me. It's killing me. Well, hey, it's good to see you guys. What's going on? It's been a while since we've all three been together. Kendall couldn't join last week. Dillon and I carried on without him, but it's good to have him back on a Zoom call, catching up. What's new? How was your weekend?
Oh, man. I tell you what, I want to say last week's episode was fun. It was enjoyable. You made the comment that toward the end that I would maybe curb some of the deep dive nerd talk at the end, but I didn't think it was that deep dive nerd stuff, mainly because I felt like I was understanding what you were talking about, even if, I don't do the Lego thing. But no, congratulations on a good episode. 187 was a fun listen. I enjoyed the conversation.
Well, if that wasn't a deep dive for you, Star Wars Bad Batch Season 2 just came out.
Oh boy.
Thoughts.
Now you've lost me.
Isn't it weird to listen to an episode that you weren't on?
Well, yeah, because I want to talk.
It's nicer when I'm not on it, which I appreciate.
That's not
Disagree.
true.
No, I mean, I don't mean nicer like better. It's not better. I mean nicer like more polite. It's the rude person is gone.
Yeah.
Are you the rude person?
I don't know. That's the shtick. I think that's my shtick on this. I don't have a beard, so I'm not very nice. Is that a thing?
There's a lot less
You guys
racism.
are like
There's a lot less
you guys are like
racism,
the
which
wise old sages with your beards, and I'm like the young rude whippersnapper.
Speaking of beards, let's do this at the top since you're wearing that dope Artius Man hat. Thank you to Artius Man, locally made, naturally made men's grooming products for your beard. Check them out at artiusman.com, artiusman.com. Use promo code the middle, all one word, all caps at checkout to get 25% off your order. Beard oils, balms, butters, mustache waxes, wooden combs. They even have scented woodwick candles, oil based. Really good stuff. Highly recommend it. Thanks for the sponsorship. Moving on.
It'll change your life.
For sure. Well, it feels
Did
like
you guys have off?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to answer the weekend question. Did you guys have off the Monday for Martin Luther King?
Sure did.
Kids did.
Yeah. Did you relax? Did you do anything? Did you celebrate?
We Hubbles needed a day of relaxing, and so we took advantage of Martin Luther King Jr. Day to do that. Thank you to all that he did, which is more than just giving us a day to relax, but for equality and equal rights. But yes, we have had very, very, very full weekends. As you guys know from last week's episode, we were in Cleveland for part of last weekend to celebrate part of Lily's 16th birthday at a skate park, and there was lots of things going on the next day. This past weekend, we had our 5th and final Christmas celebration with Sherry's extended family, and then the next day was a surprise party for Lily where all of our extended family, 50 plus people, were at my mom's house waiting for her to walk through the door. She had no idea. We had a taco party. She felt very loved and very celebrated and very seen. It was beautiful. Dillon, you guys were there, so you were a part of that. And then, it feels like there's been something. And I was telling Kendall this before we started recording. I get very selfish with my me time. And those weekends that are extremely full and it feels like you didn't really even have a weekend, I start to feel like pent up, and then I often will jump too far on the other side of the ditch and like do nothing for 3 days to try to, because I feel like I'm owed some me time. I'm not saying that's the right attitude. That's just where my head goes. So then it makes me want to do absolutely jack squat for like 2 or 3 days to sort of make up for it because I'm owed some free time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we did nothing.
I feel like there's some backlash that can happen when right now there's this general message of like make sure you have time for you, and that's great. I believe that sentiment, but there are people like it sounds like Kory and myself where it's like we don't need that encouragement. We don't need that encouragement. As a matter of that some people need that encouragement. That's fine. Let's not make that a universal thing. Yeah. I'll find me some me time.
I'll find me some me time, and I will take extra and then another lap and then another lap because I'm enjoying it. And I don't seem to get a fill of me time. So yeah, well said.
Is that like Treat Yourself from Parks and Rec?
It's Treat Yourself Plus. Yeah. It's like 3 hours of Minecraft and then a movie. And then let's just do a stuffed crust pizza from Pizza Hut while we're at it. And
like some of y'all been treating yourself pretty nice the last few years. And you get to work.
Exactly.
You need to go do
and that and that pardon the mess for making memory sign. I'm going to take that to heart too.
Yeah, exactly.
Heck. So, yeah, that's that.
What'd you do?
Well, yeah, we had some. Oh, Kendall, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I had nothing.
Our rhythm is off tonight. We're stepping all over each other. I think there's a delay. This is cringy. Somebody, for the love of God.
I did nothing. Dillon, go.
I convinced my wife and daughter that we needed a family movie day yesterday. So we didn't watch a ton, but we just kind of chilled in the basement, watched a movie, played some video games. It was very nice. It's one of the first times in a long time that a day off really felt like a restful day off. Like typically there's just enough chores that I'm like, that wasn't restful enough. And so selfishly, it felt really good. And then I'm traveling starting tomorrow for a few days. And so it was a really great time to feel like I got an actually restful day. And so, yeah, it was great. The party was great. Had a really nice time. Tacos and soda and dessert, what not to love. And Lily did seem very grateful and surprised. It was an awesome time. So, yeah, very nice weekend.
What movies did you watch on Family Movie Day?
We watched Paddington Bear, which was silly on its own in the sense that self-aware silly. It was very self-aware. And so its silly moments were actually funny, not like, kids movie, bad. And then we watched some of the Trolls Christmas thing. If you ever watch Trolls, I really like the felt animation and like the style and how many of the characters have sort of jerky, fast movement in response to things. I legitimately laughed out loud a handful of times watching that. It was very funny. We played some Nintendo Switch, some Switch Sports. Finley's getting really good at bowling. She's got like a 133 or 140 something. So she's not doing too bad. I like to play golf and bowling on there. So yeah, it's good. Got some shows watched, got some games played.
Those days are good for the soul. We did the same thing. We sort of said to each kid, what's one thing you want to do today before school starts again? Each of them had a movie that they had been wanting to watch. It just so happens that they also each wanted their mom and I to watch that movie with them, even though it was individual movies they wanted to watch, which meant Sherry and I had like 3 or 4 on the to watch list. Started the day with Enola Holmes 2. Dillon, I know that's one of your notes as well. We got to watch that. So good. We can get into that later. And then we had been wanting to watch The Bad Guys on Netflix, which you had also recommended. And we weren't going to watch that until Case finished the book because he was reading the book. And you were absolutely right. That movie is really fun. So that's 2 points for DreamWorks. I thought they killed that. The animation style was super fun and herky-jerky movements, like you said, a little bit anime, but then a little bit like traditional animation on top of 3D animation. It's just a really fun time. Enjoyed that movie. And then I myself decided to watch Triangle Sadness. I've been talking about Ruben Östlund for the last couple episodes, and that's his newest one that was nominated for multiple Golden Globes, and it's a dark comedy. I'm getting into his stuff, man. I'm going to see what else is in his library. But yeah, some good time, and it was very relaxing.
I thought it was funny with I saw an article. That's what it was. I was reading an article, and I don't know if this is true. I haven't vetted the numbers, but they showed me box office numbers that this is the first time 2 DreamWorks movies in 2022 beat the 2 Pixar movies out in total box office. And if that's a trend, maybe that's a year, or maybe they were commenting that it was 2 years in a row. But I thought that was interesting because it was slightly weaker movies. It was Strange Worlds and Lightyear were the 2 Pixar movies, and then Bad Guys was one of the DreamWorks, and I think Puss in Boots was the other with the Shrek universe. So I thought that was kind of interesting, as I had just watched Bad Guys, and then you just mentioned that. I do think Lightyear was fine. I didn't watch Strange Worlds, but I definitely thought Bad Guys was better than Lightyear. It was very entertaining. I thought they did an awesome job. Although, and we were starting to watch something else from another studio, and I think we were going to watch Ice Age, but I think Disney owns Ice Age now. I think when they bought Fox, I think they bought the rights to Ice Age. So all of that still falls under Disney now anyways, but I don't know how you felt. I don't know if you saw Strange Worlds or Lightyear, Puss in Boots, or now you've seen Bad Guys.
I did not see I did not see the first three of that you just mentioned, and Strange World is technically Disney Animation and not Pixar. But so that must have been DreamWorks versus Disney versus DreamWorks versus Pixar. But anyway,
or maybe
would
just
you-
overarching versus Disney, DreamWorks versus Disney for the animated.
Would you guys believe me if I said I watched Puss in Boots
Was it good?
in theaters? Yeah,
I would
actually.
believe you. Yeah,
I did enjoy it. It was on it was on the night of the blizzard when like everything was shutting down. So this was weeks ago, just before Christmas, and but my wife had tickets to take her and our daughter to see the Nutcracker in one of the fancy downtown theaters, and spent a lot of money to do that. And so they were going to do that. And it was like, without wind chill, we were in the negatives temperature wise. And so the plan was like the boys and I, we were going to drive them there, and then we were going to figure out something else to do. Well, that something else to do was to like, we went to see a movie at a nearby movie theater, and Puss in Boots is what was on tap. And so we watched that. My oldest son threw up in the middle in the movie theater, so that was fantastic. It was one of those, I don't know what to do in those situations. There's hardly anybody at the theater because everything was closed down, except for movie theaters, and we were the only ones stupid enough to be driving across town to get to these places. And like we had just got our tickets and we're heading toward, we hadn't eaten anything. I don't know. We headed toward the theater, toward the room that our movie was playing in, and then I hear behind me, and he's just standing there in front of it, and I'm like, man, the concession stands were not too far away, and so like I yelled for someone's attention, like, "Excuse me, we had a thing."
Yeah.
She looked down and saw it, and then as soon as I alerted somebody, like I don't know if more is coming, so like we ran to the nearest restroom where he hugged a toilet for a few minutes. I don't think anything else came up, but like in the meantime now, like I don't know if he's like legit sick and I need to like get him home. Like it's blizzardy conditions outside, and my wife and daughter are counting on us to pick them up. But if he's like deathly ill, like so like I call her and I'm like, I don't know, like if like I don't even know if an Uber is going to be willing to take you home in this stuff. Like we might have to get creative about all this. But over the course of about maybe 10-15 minutes hanging out in the bathroom, he eventually said that he thought he felt perfectly fine eventually. And so I left it up to him legitimately, and he wanted to see the movie still. So
Wow.
So we did, and he was fine, like perfectly fine after that. Like ever since then, he's been fine and healthy.
Yeah.
Don't know what that was.
I thought
kids are weird.
I thought you were going to say you were in the middle of the movie and you didn't know what to do. It's like, just scoot down 2 seats. Keep going. we're already here. Do you know how much this costs? This is like your college tuition.
It was, I think, the only time that we were literally the only patrons watching the movie in the room.
Yeah. Well, this movie day was, it's like the beginning of a small trial run, because I want to take Finley to see the Mario movie when it comes out, and it's like March, April, May, somewhere in there. And I don't know if she'll enjoy it, but she likes Mario Kart. So I think she likes that enough. She recognizes the characters. But I mean, it was like somebody packed her full of pixie sticks and just let her loose during movie day. So I'm not sure she could sit still long enough that that's going to be a thing that we can go do. But we got to keep trying to watch movies until that Mario one comes out. But I think she really just wants some candy and a blue freeze from the theater. I think that's all it is.
I remember having that discussion with my wife the first time we took our kids to a movie. Like, should we? Is this a good idea? And it turned out being fine.
Yeah.
But
I don't know about you guys, but if any of my kids even mentions their belly hurting, I'm like, "Brr, brr, brr, all hands on deck, grab whatever container you can find. I don't mess around.
Yeah.
I hate dealing with it. I know that it happens. I know that we put our parents through it, but I'm like, turn your hat upside down. I don't care. I'm not cleaning this up. I just get so, yeah, I'm in like first responder mode. Like, we got to fix this now. And
Yeah.
if I'm driving,
I
I'm just
know,
barking orders at Sherry. Like, do we have a big cup from somewhere that we can empty out? What can they throw up in?
He just every once in a while, like maybe once or twice a year, will just throw up for no reason. Like it comes out of nowhere. He says he was feeling fine until like the moment it happened, and minutes later he's feeling fine again.
You're like, Dad, this is just my biannual throw up. This is what I do.
Oh my goodness. It's happened in the car. It's happened in public. It's
Had
happened
he recently eaten 3 plates of macaroni and cheese from a buffet or
No. We did have dinner like a while before then. I don't remember where we went for dinner. Again, like we had to call around and find a place eventually that was open. But
that's funny.
yeah.
So that did beg a question. If you guys talking about relaxing time in movies and all of that, if you guys had a whole day and you were firm on the idea you wanted to do some kind of movie marathon right now, not like, you know, it doesn't have to be classics or whatever, not blockbusters, not Star Wars, not whatever. What are you sitting down and watching? Like, what's in your queue that you're watching? If you're like, I got all day, I'm going to watch this. And then I've been wanting to watch this. And then I've been wanting to watch this. Do you have anything that's like backed up that you're like, I would just binge these 3 or 4 movies?
I'll go quick because some movies to me have a very high replayability factor. Like, it's really fun to watch them over and over and over again. But depending on what's going on in your life, to watch a franchise you've seen a million times feels like that's a waste of a day. And so the only way I would be able to justify it is if it's like a franchise I've never seen before, that I've always thought, the next time I have a little bit of time, I'm going to sit down and watch all 3, whatever. Yeah. So I'll only say, especially because I'm selfish with my me time right now and I wouldn't want to waste a day, I'd be like, that only makes sense to me if I can watch something I've never seen before, and I'm going to watch like the Hellraiser movies, right? Like, that's something I've never seen them. I would love to sit down and watch all 9 or whatever it is. I probably couldn't fit it into a day, but watch as many of the Hellraiser movies as I could, or something like that where there was a new installment of it out right now or coming out soon.
Those are interesting points. I too would choose something that I've never seen before. Because I don't tend to be a rewatcher. It's hard enough for me to get into something as it is. But it would be probably something of the horror genre. I do enjoy doing that. Trying not to copy off of the Hellraiser comment, but like I did that with the Halloween movies not too long ago. I don't know what I would choose. Maybe Scream, because apparently like Scream 76 is coming out now, and I didn't know like there were that many Scream movies, and so that intrigues me enough to say, hey, maybe go through. I think Scream 2 I was aware of and watched and haven't seen any of them since then, so that'd be a possibility for me.
How about you, Dill?
I was hoping you guys had ideas for me. I feel like less so than an actual series, it's typically movies within the similar genre, because it like a good example with stuff we've talked about recently is I would maybe watch 1917, All Quiet on the Western Front, and then like a 1 or 2 World War II movies I hadn't seen yet. Even though they're not directly related, they're all within the same genre and are of like a similar time period. And I feel like I've got some like World War II era and nearby era stuff built up on like my Netflix queue. I'd probably knock out like 3 or 4 period dramas in a row, just not from a series, but just like knowing that I would enjoy watching them. I'd probably watch them in chronological order. That way, it's just in my head, it would make sense. But anyways, it's so easy to just be like, oh, I'd binge all the Lord of the Rings movies, or I'd binge all the Star Wars movies or something. Not that I mind rewatching stuff, but anyways.
What about like following an actor or an actress?
You can do that. I'd have
Somebody
to have
that
a
you're
really
recently into, and you're like, man, I bet you they were interesting back in the day, and so you just start watching some of their old stuff.
if I feel like if I had access to the movies already, I wouldn't want to have to like buy multiple things to watch. So if I had access through a couple apps or somebody that I've liked in the past that I lost track of them for a while, like I probably haven't watched anything with Brendan Fraser since the early 2000s. So if I knew there was like 3 or 4 of his movies on HBO and Netflix, that would be somebody that like, oh, I wonder what he's been up to. Let's go watch some of his stuff. That can be fun. Yeah. I did that with, we just watched, I tend to watch almost anything I see by Ewan McGregor, and we just watched Raymond and Ray on Apple TV Plus. And I did that like literally just because Ewan McGregor was in it. I wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
Or following a director, like we were talking about with the Ostland films. Like it's really nice to see the same type of movie, or see how they grew as a director. That stuff fascinates me, since I appreciate
that'd be interesting,
the art side of it.
Yeah. I've never been able to like sort of call out a style before and put a person to it.
Yeah.
Of a director. So that'd be interesting to see that too. Look at similarities, and yeah, that'd be fun.
It's Dylan, you'll be excited to hear that I almost began thinking about how I might go back and start watching through Star Trek, the series.
Yeah, do
it.
So Bobby Lee was talking about how it's his favorite series. Like it gives him life when he watches it. It's his favorite. And then his podcast co-host, Andrew Santino, started making fun of him. By the way, side note, Andrew Santino's new special on Netflix, Cheeseburger, is very funny. Really enjoy it, especially the bit about why we got rid of straws because they're killing turtles. That part had me on the floor. Anyway, some of it's offensive. A lot of it's fun. It's just good. Anyway, so Andrew's making fun of Bobby for liking Star Trek. And Bobby says, okay, the widely agreed upon best episode of Star Trek ever is season 5, second to last episode of Next Generation. And it's called Inner Light. It's like Trekkies agree that it's one of the greatest episodes of Star Trek. I don't know why, but he just convinced Andrew to start with that one. And if he makes it through that one, then he has to commit to watching more. And I was like, so they're going to make a bet, and it's just fun. But I was like, when somebody I enjoys something, it makes me want to give it a shot. And I thought about it. So that might be a handful of Saturdays.
Yeah, I was going to say, so Next Generation has 7 seasons. Deep Space Nine has 7 seasons. Voyager has 7 seasons. Enterprise has 3 seasons. The original series has 3 seasons. The animated series has 2 seasons. There's 9 films across the original series Next Generation cast. There's another 3 in the J.J. Abrams universe. And that's not including anything from CBS that's launched with their app in like 6 years ago. So hold on to your butt.
But if one was going to do that, is Next Generation the place to start?
I did do that. And I got some good advice from, I will call myself, knowing how deep the connection to Star Trek goes, I'm going to call myself a very surface level fan in this. Although I've watched everything pre-CBS, including the animated series, I'll still call myself a surface level fan in this case. I got some very good advice from 2 very big Trekkers. And that advice was start with the Next Generation. And you can always go back and watch the original series. but the original series is a little beep boop for some people to go back and try to like watch through unless you already know this is a thing that I enjoy and I'm in it for weird episodes. You could give them a couple episodes that are like really good original series episodes, or you could maybe watch one of the original series films. And it just depends on somebody's ability to tolerate a very slow burn drama. Like if you're like the type that you're like, sure, I'll sit through anything that by the end I'm going to enjoy, even if it feels a little slow. You can watch the very first Star Trek movie with William Shatner, and it's very slow and long, but by the end you'll enjoy it, most likely. But I would say they told me to start with the Next Generation, and I did. And that was the way to do it. But I don't know that I'd jump all the way to like season 5.
So you just said Trekker versus Trekkie, and I tried to do a quick search. Tell me the difference between the two.
Trekkies is really like the slang term that Trek fans don't like. Trekkers is preferred by the in-universe fans. So
the quick search I just did says, and I'm not disagreeing, I'm perhaps adding,
fine.
Trekkies what they originally called themselves, and that those fans have since lost touch with reality. A Trekker has his or her 2 feet still planted firmly in reality and realizes that it's just a show.
Oh, maybe is that the Urban Dictionary answer to that?
Boy.
That's very funny. I've always heard that Trekker is the preferred term, not Trekkie. But I don't. It doesn't matter.
Kory, you're a completionist about these things, right?
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't it pain you to not like start at the very beginning and go?
Yeah, a whole lot. But
because especially I can tell you this, that if you get into the stuff that's been coming out in the past 5 years, some of the throwbacks that occur in those episodes go back that far.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's okay if you miss those. But
to me though, it's so big. It's kind of like Star Wars. You could talk to somebody if either one of you were talking to somebody who's like, where do I start? What do I watch?
Mm-hmm.
For the reasonable person, this is a very good centrist topic. For the reasonable people like us, you could say, look, you don't have to watch the animated series. You don't have to
watch any of it.
You don't have to read. Well, right. But like if somebody was asking you what to watch, who had never seen Star Wars and you in your mind would have reasonable compartments of media that you could say, if nothing else, just watch the original trilogy and see what you think. Well, now I want to watch more. Okay, well, now watch this and see if you could break it down. Star Trek can be broken down like that as well. There's just the series, and then there's the films, and then the animated series is its own thing. The CBS era for the streaming app is like a new era. It's kind of, although it ties back into the original stuff, it's kind of its own little compartment for most people that like you can say, I just go back and watch, the Next Generation, Voyager, and Deep Space Nine. Like,
so in that sense, you're picking how far down the rabbit hole you want to go.
Sure. The first layer would be the first really good layer, although I would kind of lump them together, would be the Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager. Like, if you were going to watch something, those 21 seasons are like...
I would skip Deep Space Nine.
See, some people... I'm of the opinion that the first 2 seasons of Deep Space Nine are some of the most atrocious Star Trek you can watch.
Yes.
But after you get through the first couple seasons, it by the end becomes most people's favorite show. And so I'd hate to tell people to skip it, because if you can get through the first 2 seasons, which are just dreadful, it's going to pay off. Like, I can confidently say after seasons 1 and 2, all the remaining seasons get better and better and better. And by the end, you'll be glad that you will have watched through the first 2 seasons to complete the show.
Yeah.
It
is a departure from, there's a cadence that like most of Star Trek follows. There's a feel. And it's why when I watched through the recent stuff, like I had said, like Picard to me doesn't feel like a Star Trek series. It's obviously a sci-fi series, but it's not Star Trek-ish. Voyager very much is. And so like Deep Space Nine is a hard departure, I feel, from the rest of what Star Trek is, from what people expect from Star Trek.
Yeah, I think Voyager felt more like that for me than Deep Space Nine because they're thrown across the galaxy or whatever. Alternatively, Kory, if you wanted another option, which I have the movies, you could just watch the Next Generation films and sort of see what you think, like just with that cast. Because if you can watch through some of that cast and go, yeah, this is good, I enjoy then you could decide if you wanted to dedicate seasons. I wouldn't say that's the ideal place to start, but it's probably the next best thing. Like watch the however many films are just the Next Generation crew and see, I think that's 5 or 6 movies, and see if you enjoy that.
The aforementioned completionist in me, though, is beginning to freak out already because I have so many things started and I'm not caught up with so much that, like, I started Rick and Morty, I started Letterkenny, I started so many things. Sherry and I never finished The Blacklist, which is driving me crazy.
Oh no. Where are you? Where are you in The Blacklist?
I don't know. How many seasons are there?
9. I just finished season 9 today.
Yeah, I think we're like in 5, 6, 7. And it feels especially annoying that we committed that much time and still haven't seen it through. We just started also Jack Ryan with John Krasinski on Amazon Prime, and that's really good. Like, there's too much going on.
Stop starting things, man.
Yeah,
I know, but then
golly,
I know
you can't watch it all.
I know. But then Sherry says like she loses interest, and we try desperately to find something that we both enjoy. And then one of our tastes change, but then I'm committed, and now the bar's already mostly red.
Y'all are complicated, man.
You know what? I don't know if your brain will buy this as a solution, but here's something that I convinced myself is an acceptable interior or option for finishing a show.
You know me, Dillon. I just need a justification, and once I have a rationale in my own brain, so this might work.
Perfect. If you like this, maybe this will help other listeners. In my mind, Wikipedia is a such near perfect solution for media that I feel like if I start something and want to know how it ends, but know that I don't have the time, I'll just go read. I'll spend an hour reading the season synopses until I've read through the rest of the show. And then I get the sense of completion from story, because you can tell a story just as well, if not better, written, as you can. Even in a Wikipedia synopsis, you can do a really good job at being succinct. So in my mind, if I can go do that, and not just like the DVD case that has 2 sentences, but like the 3, 4, 5 paragraph.
Sure, yeah.
If I can read through that, then that's acceptable. That's an acceptable way for me to finish a movie or a show.
I like that. This is a very good option.
So then you get the full story. You get just enough detail. You have links that you can click to go like, oh, I forget who that character was. You click it. It shows you their picture on their page. Oh, yeah. Then you go back. Then you keep reading. So maybe that will help your completionist brain.
That's very good. That's going to save me some time over the course of the remainder of my life.
Maybe with Blacklist, you got 4 seasons worth of synopses to read on Wikipedia.
Yeah. And then you can still pick it up later. They're not done.
Speaking of picking it up later and not being done, I feel like this is a great place to take a pause and hear from some of our friends in Odd Pods Media.
Pew pew.
Hey, this is Grab and Brisket Podcast. Join us every Monday where we talk about the latest trends in barbecue, interviews with world top pitmasters, celebrity cooks.
Ooh, like Wee Man from Jackass.
And musicians.
Like Rich O'Toole.
So check us out. We do beer reviews, barbecue fails.
So many fires.
Dude, a lot of people just burn their houses down for no reason.
We also talk about cocaine hippos versus meth gators.
Learn how to make some tailgate gravy.
Altercations with Texas Rangers.
People throwing Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah. So check out grabthebrisket.com for podcast info, viral social media posts, and so much more.
And speaking of things that may end up being a really good series, I'm really curious to hear your take on Enola Holmes, Dillon, 1 and 2, because I was very, very pleasantly surprised watching through those first 2 movies.
Yeah, I thought they were really good. I appreciate that somebody took the time to make a kid's mystery, well, a geared towards family mystery that doesn't feel cheap, that has nice sets, that has a reasonable amount of darkness and heaviness to the worlds and the characters, but isn't overdone. And this is really, this is like everybody's different. But I feel like the broad audience would say this is family friendly, but still a real show with real writing and real acting and well put together, that it doesn't feel like it's for kids. It feels like it's for anyone, but still appropriate for kids. I think it's really well done. I think I forget the actor's, the young girl's name. She's from Stranger Things.
Millie Bobby Brown. Yeah.
She does an excellent job. I really don't think, frankly, although the second film relies more on Sherlock Holmes, I really don't think they needed Sherlock Holmes in it at all. It was acceptable to me with how good she was that he wasn't even really necessary. And it's not that I don't like, what's his name?
Henry Cavill.
Yeah, it's not that I don't like Henry Cavill, although I do think he's way too buff to be Sherlock Holmes. It's not that I don't think he's not he plays the character well. He's interesting. I just don't think the show needed him until they wrote the story for the second film the way that they did. So I think they're really good. I think if people haven't watched them, they should go check them both out, whether it's like you're just an adult who needs something to watch on a weekend, or you've got a whole family. Like for teenagers, it's certainly appropriate, and probably kids, pretty close to like 10-ish, maybe slightly under if they're more mature. It's really well done. I think they're really fun movies to watch. I think they did a great job.
I incorrectly surmised that Enola Holmes, when I saw the trailer and even some of the promotional materials for the first, that this was just going to be like an overly kiddie, a little girl version of Sherlock Holmes tropes. And then I watched the first and was like, whoa, that was like production quality, very high. Really enjoyed it. Clever writing, and her acting skills are awesome. And Chloe especially, Thing 2, really loved it. And so she was really excited to watch the second. And then the second I would put on par with like Hollywood big budget movies. And then with how Enola Holmes 2 ends, you're like, this could go in a bunch of different cool directions. Holmes could spin off and do his own movies from Enola Holmes, and I would watch it. And then they could get back together in 2 more movies, and I would watch it. It was very entertaining. I had a lot of fun watching through it. So if you're looking for a good family-friendly movie out there, listener, check out Enola Holmes 1 and 2. Both very, very good. And I like all installments of Holmes. I mean, I like Benedict Cumberbatch. I like Robert Downey Jr. I like all of them. So I'm along for the ride. Lucy Liu. Sure. Let's do it.
I never watched that reboot on, was it CBS or ABC or something?
I don't remember. It was an answer on a crossword puzzle recently. That's why it was in my frame of reference.
Nice.
Yeah. Word.
One of the last things I just watched, it's nice. It's not groundbreaking, but it's nice, is Dads on Apple TV Plus. Bryce Dallas Howard does a documentary called Dads, and has interviews with her dad, Ron Howard, her grandpa, Rance Howard, her brother. And then she spends more time with some just average families across the US, and then has celebrity interviews mixed in between. So like really quick snippets from celebrities like Conan, Keenan, Will Smith, Patton Oswalt. And so again, nothing groundbreaking happening. No major, no major new information or new takes on dads or whatever. But it's nice. And it's kind of a cute thing to watch if you want something lighthearted and you want to laugh a little bit and you want to cry a little bit, and it's sweet.
You were just talking about Limitless with Chris Hemsworth the other day, and on National Geographic, Disney Plus, and multiple people since have told me how good that series is. So I just wanted to follow up on that one.
Yeah, the series sort of ends. I mean, the basic premise is he's given these tasks to do that sort of push him to the edge of what he can do physically. So one of them, he's on a super high building and he has to walk out onto a beam and walk back. And then one of them, he's like swimming in Arctic water and with, no scuba suit or anything like that to keep him warm. But it's the last episode that, I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but the last episode really deals with the idea of aging and death. Because this whole thing is about sort of like, how do I not cheat death, but how do I extend my life as long as possible? What things can I learn, pushing through fear, swimming in cold water and how that can help the body, or eating better. He does a fast for one episode, or it's sort of all these ways to extend his life. But part of extending life is also the reality of the death of others and the loss of others and his own mortality, and sort of dealing with that idea. And so the last episode is really interesting. So I won't say anything other than, if you start that one, complete it, watch the whole series. There's only like 6 episodes, but the last episode is really the anchor to the series, and you have to finish that. It's not just Chris Hemsworth is doing these random challenges. It is up until the end, until it very much isn't. And then you're dealing with you're talking through and working through some very real and interesting kind of themes and emotions and things that he's dealing with. So it's good. And he's got a couple other shows on Disney Plus, I think, like documentary reality things, but Limitless is interesting.
Well, you've been on point with your recommendations. I know I teased you about the Banshees of Inisherin, and then it ended up winning like a bunch of awards at the Golden Globes. So
just wait for the Oscars.
I'm losing my artsy fartsy. I just want a good popcorny blockbuster with explosions. That's all I need.
Oh, what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. I just need
Heaven forbid people want to be entertained.
But you know what? You can sometimes, if you line up all the movies, you can kind of tell which ones are going to get awards by how artsy they are. And you could tell while watching the Banshees of Inisherin that even though I was like, what is going on? This is kind of weird and out there. I'm like, this will win stuff.
Yeah.
I feel self-important enough.
This feels like something that they'll go, oh, yes, I see.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you joke about being self-important. It did and it didn't. It did in the fact that I think the two main actors take themselves very seriously in real life. And so the people that know them and would vote on these kind of things sort of know that. But it really didn't feel like the film itself took itself too seriously. And I know you're just joking, but I think if anything, let me say this very politically correct. In a time where people are really making sure that minorities and people of color are being seen, that would have been a really easy reason to overlook this one, just because it's 2 white guys who've been around for a long time about white culture in, Ireland, which is particularly interesting in an era where you're making sure you recognize, some of those other cultures. So it could have been very easily sort of glossed over. But I don't think that would have been fair to the movie, because it was really, it was weird and super weird and interesting and cool to watch. So, and it's not like other movies don't deserve awards too, but I certainly think, and I'm not even necessarily a fan of the main guys. It's, I'm blanking on their names at the moment, but I'm not even necessarily a big fan, but I just think they did a really great job at playing their roles, but not taking the film too seriously, that it couldn't be funny and have some great moments.
No, I'm just saying your recommendations are on point.
Well, the fans and my daughter in the future as an adult who might be listening now know that I don't just watch Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and I do watch other things. And
He's a
have decent-
trekker. His feet are
He's a
firmly
trekker.
planted on the
I'm a
ground.
trekker, baby. And I also like to be very reasonable about things like dads. When I say it's fine, it's nice. If you want something nice to watch and you don't know what else, it's fine. It's
Dylan
nice to
has
watch.
never said that anything is bad, with the exception of the first 2 seasons of Deep Space Nine.
I was very honest about how bad they are. The first 2 seasons or so of Next Generation are comparatively just slow, but they're not atrocious. The first 2 seasons of Deep Space Nine are atrocious. I did say that the new Space Jam, I turned it off, and that is very rare for me because I was bored.
Ooh.
Oh,
the new Space Jam, is that what you said?
The new Space Jam, I got like 20 or 30 minutes in. It was so
I
bored.
loved it. I loved
I
it.
was so bored I turned it off, which is good. This is the whole centrist
Well,
thing.
but there's part of it like I went and like I to see that with my 7-year-old son, which was fun.
Sure.
So that was probably a big reason why I enjoyed watching that movie, because it was with him. But yeah, I also want to correct myself. A quick little fact check. My brain just popped and said, you said Voyager earlier when you meant to say Discovery.
oh, okay.
Recent Star Trek stuff.
Oh,
I liked Discovery far more than I liked Picard. Anyway.
I've got something that's bad. So definitely avoid Disenchanted, the sequel to Enchanted on Disney Plus.
That's too bad.
So bad. And I really, really liked the first one. I know it's about princesses and there's like cartoony birds, and it's a caricature of Disney princess movies.
Listen, first Anne of Green Gables, now this. You do you, man.
Dude, I had high hopes for Disenchanted, but man.
Is Patrick Dempsey in this one?
Patrick Dempsey's in it, yes.
Amy Adams.
Amy
That's
Adams
very
again.
surprising when she's like won Academy Awards.
And
That
Maya Rudolph, who I love from SNL. It was
Not a big fan. Maya Rudolph's okay, but I'm surprised that they talked both of those two into come back, and either they thought the script was good enough or they didn't have any say over what the script was. That's surprising that it was that bad. The first one was good.
Good.
It was a cute movie. That's interesting.
Save yourself 2 hours and don't watch Disenchanted. I fell asleep during it. Sherry chose it for the family. Afterwards, she apologized to everyone. But I'm going to have to still freaking go back and watch the parts I missed.
Read the Wikipedia synopsis on this one.
Oh.
This is a perfect first test. Read the Wikipedia synopsis on this movie and see if you check that internal completionist box.
But who am I going to have go and scroll through the red bar until it's all the way to the right?
Well, I don't know who's scrubbing the episode for you, but
Yeah. I mean, not everybody fell asleep. It still played. You just got to get through the credits, man. You can
right.
do it. You want me to come over and do that for you? I can be.
It'd be good to hang out.
This would be the problem with Kory. If Kory won like the mega billions, and this is why the Lord would never let you, because you would hire somebody to scroll all of your streams to the end for you, because you don't have time for that.
yeah, that's awesome.
So
I
I'd
will
have
say-
new underwear every day. That'd be me.
New me undies every day, even better. I will say, and some things I'm looking forward to watching that we'll probably bring up in the future. Black Panther 2, I've still not seen it. It's going to be on Disney Plus February 1st.
Yeah.
Very excited for that. The newest trailer of Mandalorian season 3 just dropped. It looks freaking awesome. Ant-Man 3, Quantumania. Are we on 2 or 3? I don't remember. The newest Ant-Man comes out in February. That looks friggin' great. I want to see that in theaters. So there's like so much stuff coming out. It's very exciting.
Oh, Megan, my wife and I had a chance to get away from the kids, and we went and watched Megan.
How was it?
In theaters. That was interesting. It wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. It had all of the like campiness to it that like a campy scary movie would have. So there was some creepy stuff that was obviously put in there to like entertain you, but it wasn't like all artsy creepy. Like I was expecting it to be kind of like a Japanese style horror film that had like a lot of dark arts to it and things like that. It wasn't that at all. It was like a campy scary movie popcorn flick. and we enjoyed the heck out of it. The watch that movie.
Wow.
And people are like at the scary points, you hear everybody gasp, and then everybody's kind of chuckling at themselves. It was fun to watch that with other moviegoers in the theater.
All I saw, so Chris D'Elia was talking about it, and all he showed on his podcast was the scene where she's doing a little dance with a knife in her hand.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was creepy.
But I didn't realize I didn't realize the premise of the movie and realize that it was a doll yet. So I just thought it was this really bizarre human movement, and I was terrified. And then I'm like, oh, it's like a doll, and she like
a robot. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that was freaky.
There is some freaky stuff in it. Don't get me wrong.
Whew.
But it's all stuff that, like, you know, folks in the crowded movie theater are giggling at while also being freaked out.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we talked a lot about what we're streaming and about to stream, so that there should be no shortage of stuff for y'all to watch if you've listened. Dillon's going to be traveling in the next couple of days, and so you should get some good content from your travels down south. I'm headed to London this week, and then we'll be back with hopefully some fun travel stories and not bad travel stories. But yeah, I hope to get my red bars filled up on watching some stuff on the plane. And we'll be back with some stories. Thanks for tuning in this week. It's always fun catching up with y'all. We will catch you next week. Be sure to reach out via one of the links in the LinkTree in the description below. Call us, text us, leave a voicemail, email, whatever. Let us know what you want us to talk about.
Bye-bye.